There are moments in history when time does not move forward. It pauses, watching what a single human choice will become. A battlefield is not only built with trenches, weapons, and marching boots, it is built with rules, and rules are built with honor. And in the ancient battalions of the Eastern Border Command, honor was worth more than rank, more than medals, and more than fear. There are moments in history when time does not move forward, it pauses, yet there was a man who believed otherwise. Captain Varun Khatri had served for years. Decorated, respected, and feared, he moved through the camp with the certainty of a man who believed loyalty meant obedience without question. His voice could silence a courtyard. His gaze could freeze a young recruit mid-motion. But behind the iron discipline, something darker lived: entitlement. Authority had become a mirror in which he admired himself too often. Rules, to him, were not boundaries, they were tools. Flexible, adjustable, optional. And then there was Armin Halim, a new recruit. Quiet, measured. Steady hands, steady breath, and steady eyes that studied everything. No one knew much about him, only that he listened more than he spoke and followed the rules with almost sacred precision. He was not the strongest or tallest. He did not seek recognition. But he understood something many forgot. Strength without integrity was only violence. Rank without discipline was only noise. On the morning of the inspection, frost still clung to the training field. The sky was pale silver. Rows of soldiers stood ready, boots aligned, rifles polished, backs straightened with the tension of awaiting judgment. Captain Varun walked slowly through the formation. His tone was sharp, his criticism sharper. Too slow. Too sloppy. Too careless. And then his boots stopped. In front of him stood Armin. His posture was correct. His weapon was spotless. His uniform bore not a wrinkle nor a stray thread. Instead of praise, the captain breathed a laugh, a cold one. Impressive, he murmured. Almost perfect. Then, with deliberate slowness, he placed his hand on Armin's shoulder and said quietly, but loud enough for the first 3 rows to hear. Now break regulation. Remove the safety pin and aim at that post. Armin did not move. Every soldier heard the order. Every soldier knew it was wrong. Weapons were never to be handled loaded during inspection. The rule was carved into the foundation of the battalion's doctrine, and every officer knew it. Varun leaned closer, lowering his voice to a whisper. You want a future here? You follow my rules. The formation stiffened. Armin's jaw tightened, but he did not speak. The captain's voice rose. That is an order, recruit. The frost-filled morning suddenly felt heavier. Armin finally moved, but not toward his weapon. Instead, he lifted his head, looked directly into the captain's eyes, and spoke 5 calm words. I follow the army code. Varun's face darkened with rage. You dare defy me? He thundered, reaching forward to shove Armin back. But that was when time slowed. Armin snapped into motion, silent, precise. His hand intercepted the captain's wrist midair with the speed of a striking hawk. A sharp crack echoed, not of bone, but of authority being stopped. Gasps rippled through the formation. Varun froze, eyes wide, not from pain, but from shock. The recruit's grip held his wrist motionless, not violent, not aggressive, but immovable. The field fell silent. The kind of silence that eats sound. The kind that rewrites hierarchy. Armin released him, not with force, but with dignity, and stepped back into his position as if nothing had happened. Captain Varun staggered half a step, not from the impact, but from humiliation. For a long moment, no one breathed. Then came the sound of approaching boots. General Sahdev Rana, commander of the entire base, had witnessed everything from the perimeter. His expression was unreadable. The captain straightened, rapidly composing himself. General, this recruit, this boy, disobeyed a lawful order, Varun said, forcing authority back into his tone. General Rana studied Armin with eyes sharpened by decades of leadership. Recruit Halim, he said. Why did you refuse? Armin did not hesitate. Sir, a command that violates regulation is not lawful. A soldier obeys rules, not ego. The silence deepened. The words hung heavy, not loud, but undeniable. General Rana turned to the formation. Who else heard the order? Dozens of hands rose. Captain Varun began to speak, but the general raised a hand, silencing him effortlessly. Captain, he said slowly, rank grants authority, but law grants legitimacy. When a man uses power to bend rules, he bends the army itself. Varun swallowed hard, his glare no longer anger, but fear. General Rana then faced Armin. You acted with discipline, restraint, and courage. Strength is not the ability to strike, it is the ability to choose not to unless it is right. The field remained breathless. Then came the final order, sharp, cold, irreversible. Captain Varun Khatri is relieved of duty pending investigation. A collective shock rolled through the soldiers. And then, with a voice carrying across every barrack, every tent, every waiting ear, the general finished. Let this be remembered. Respect is earned through integrity, not demanded through fear. Weeks passed. Captain Varun never returned. His name became a warning whispered among new cadets, the reminder of what happens when power forgets purpose. But Armin Halim? He became something else. Not a hero. Not a celebrity. A reference. When recruits struggled with fear, senior officers would tell them, stand like Halim. When drills emphasized discipline, instructors repeated, precision is silent. So was he. His moment of defiance became a story retold around fires, in classrooms, and during midnight guard rotations, not because it was dramatic, but because it was true. Years later, Armin himself would train new soldiers. And when one young recruit asked him, Sir, weren't you afraid that day? He answered with a calm voice, unchanged from the morning that reshaped a battalion. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is refusing to let fear decide your actions. His words became doctrine. His story became legend. And his legacy became a reminder written into the unspoken laws of service. When rules fall, nations fall. When integrity stands, armies stand.